All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, September 15th, 2025 Special Commission meeting. I'd like to call this meeting to order and have a roll call, please.
Commissioner Markford.
Here.
Commissioner Matherly.
Here.
Commissioner Brella.
Here.
And do I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and we are going to move up item number 4 up to under new business to the first item so that Judge Schneider can get to her appointment. Okay, number 4 is to discuss and consider Otero County's role regarding the SB3 Behavioral Health Regional Infrastructure Act planning funds. Would you like to come up and?
Absolutely, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So the reason why I asked you to come is because, we have been meeting for a few years now, trying to develop some sort of a mental wellness facility, recovery facility, and those discussions going on. And I know the last time that we met a few weeks ago, we knew about this funding opportunity, and we as a group just decided we'll just let the courts apply. And I wasn't aware that Amber was going to apply for this as well, and she wants Lincoln County to be the administrator of the grant. And I asked Amber at the meeting, that if this is a one-time per district grant opportunity, and she said yes. So I wanted to coordinate with you, because I know that Audrey is applying for the grant also, to make sure that we're going in the right direction and that this is just a duplicate. It's what I'm understanding.
Thank you, and Madam Chair, members of the commission, first of all, thank you for rearranging the schedule. Thank you for fitting me in. I just want to say a couple of things. Judge Bryant is now our chief. We do 3-year terms, and so he's now the chief. He and Audrey are in Atlanta for a training, so they were unable to be here. We talked on Friday, and so Chief Bryant is aware that I'm here speaking on behalf of the court. I don't, so absolutely, Commissioner Barella, we have been working on mental health concepts and we're like recognizing we've got a mental health crisis, that we're criminalizing mental health because of necessity for public safety. It's very complex, this whole big issue, and we've been talking about different layers about how to address that in our community for a long time, and it is overwhelming. So I think that's really what led to this larger statewide focus on this and attack on it, really. And Audrey has not applied. We learned that that Otero was applying, and or thinking about it, and that Lincoln was. And so we don't want to step on the toes of our partners. So whomever handles the fiscal piece of it, that's fine. In fact, Audrey will do it, but she says if someone else will, yay. So that's not our deal. We just wanted to make sure that we had a loud and large voice at the table. All of us see the issues from different perspectives that are all real and that all matter. And our thought was, because we've been meeting, and Commissioner Burrell has been amazing at being a part of that, but because we've been meeting about this and convening people, we just really thought it was important to come over here in person and say, as long as we're a large voice at the table, and that we can have eyes on and make suggestions on who else needs to be there, then we're moving it forward. And then the other mentality that we had was, the regions are broken up by judicial district. So, and that's who we are. You all are Otero County, they're Lincoln County. And so that was really what we thought, is that we have a handle on, and maybe, and I hope this doesn't sound disrespectful, because I don't do what you all do, but we may know of other people that need to be at that table, then you might not think of that. So that was really our major concern. So we have not put in for it. We will, if that's the appropriate thing for the 12th Judicial District, but we don't have to. We just really want eyes on and to be a part of the conversation. So
what does it look like? Let's say that we go ahead and we let Amber apply for the grant, and that Lincoln County is the administrator of the grant. What does that look like for the planning that we wanted to use this grant for? Does everybody have their own plan and direction?
I think that we're making a huge mistake if we do that. We have to, I mean, it's overwhelming because clearly Otero County has different needs in some respects than Lincoln or than Mescalero. But this is what we have. They framed it as the regions are the judicial districts. So we have to come at it from that perspective. I think we can't work in silos. I think if there's a point person for the county, a point person whomever in Lincoln, and a point person for the court, which would probably be me and Audrey, and we're all working together, and we aren't meeting in silos, that it's a concerted regional 12th judicial effort. That's how I see it. But I think we require the point people in the different entities, and ideally we have a point person in Mescalero as well. So I think we have to take into consideration those regions and it might be some competing interests that we've got to work through. I just don't know what all this looks like. But they're just, I think everybody has to be there consistently.
We all recognize that, and that's kind of one of the big points is to get us all together to break down silos and stuff. With all due respect, my big concern about this is if the Judicial District Court takes the lead on the project, is that we're going to intrinsically link behavioral health and criminal justice. And I understand like your, I know that this is like the topic of your passion topic, like you see it come through the court system all the time. But I think we really do need to have the lead person to be a neutral voice in this, because so many things are going to come up, and you are right that there are going to be competing interests. Lincoln County's interests are going to be different from Otero County's, and then also, you know, we also have to come from the perspective that we have to go into all of these processes that are outlined from that funding announcement, kind of open to what's going to actually come out of those stakeholder engagements. And I know that you guys have your plans, but what if that doesn't come out of those stakeholder engagements? And I don't want that to be, if building a mental health facility ends up being the top priority, I don't want it criticized that that was the plan the whole time. And that maybe that wasn't really what came out of those discussions. And I think in all honesty, because Lincoln County has not indicated that they have a priority for the Senate Bill 1 funding, the Behavioral Health Trust funding, that because they have still remained pretty neutral, that they are still pretty much the appropriate entity to be the accountable entity for this. I think we are already putting ourselves in a position where we may be criticized for our impartiality. I just want to put that out there.
Madam Chair, if I may respond. I don't know if you were in here when I first began to speak, but I would like to make it very clear that I get it, that I wear a different hat than all of you do. But, and at the same time, my voice matters and when I say my voice, I mean the 12th Judicial District Court. My voice matters equally as to everyone else's. That's why I think there need to be point people for all of the different entities, so that there's not one initiative that's driven. We don't want that. We see things every day that you do not see. You all talk to people every day who are suffering, who have all kinds of issues, people that I never see. And those people matter. So that's our only concern. We don't want any one partner in this to drive this work. We want to make sure that all of the partners with equally important voices and perspectives are at the table at the same time moving this forward. So, and we're not in any way, like I said, Audrey will take on all of it, but she would prefer not to. We would need to be a part of the dialogue. So I absolutely respect and appreciate that this isn't all about criminal justice. For me, that's a huge part of it, because that's the world in which I live. But I recognize there are other really important considerations.
I do believe that this does require us to put together an executive committee that other, you know, other agencies and other stakeholders are involved. Like, it's not going to be siloed to just Otero County staff and then Lincoln County staff, or just Lincoln County staff because if they become the accountable entity. Yeah, so the whole point is to ensure that we are not working in silos, and, you know, and I've already made my concerns known to Esperanza and to the staff at the healthcare authorities. Like, this is gonna get sticky because we have 4 government we can have more government agencies involved in different jurisdictions that they don't normally get involved with. And like with Lincoln County and Otero County, we're gonna end up getting involved in each other's jurisdictions. So it's already gonna get, like, these conversations are gonna get heavy, and we're gonna have hard conversations and work them out. I mean, but we are not trying to silo, because ultimately our people benefit from whatever happens, and comes out of this fund, or at this plan. So, but, yeah, so we are required to put together an executive committee so that we are not siloed, and we are gonna end up having some hard conversations that are gonna cross jurisdictional lines.
So I've had conversations with Commissioner Mark Fisher. He understands that we are including Lincoln County, and he has honored some of our asks so far, and that this would serve both counties, the direction that we are going. I think I feel more comfortable just because Otero County in multiple facets have on this not formal committee that we've been working towards for several years. I think because they're all primarily Otero County, we've all agreed that whatever we do, yes, it's going to be working in conjunction with Lincoln County, but we want it primarily housed in Otero County because that's where the seat sits.
Madam Chair, Commissioner Barilla, I also think that, yes, but there may be ideas and objectives and goals that come out of this that are county specific or are Mescalero specific. I don't think that this forecloses that down the road. I mean, this is an initial, this is an initial step. We've got to put these pieces together and move forward. But I don't know that we're going to have a one-size-fits-all for 2 counties. I don't know that that's possible. Hopefully through this process we can learn ways that things that we do down here can benefit Lincoln County and vice versa, and the tribe and all of that. But it may be that some pieces of this are that this need in Otero County is unique to Otero County, and it's a part of what we're saying we have to have. So I just I don't know that there's going to be a cohesive end product. But how do I know? Right, you know, I don't know that how accessible to citizens of Otero County who, you know, can't get to appointments because they don't have cars, how they're gonna get up to Lincoln County to a facility designed to, you know, help with mental health or whatever. So, but I just, we won't know until we know.
And this is just to put the plan in place. This isn't the plan. This doesn't, we're not getting any funding other than the 45 grant, which solves no problems in Otero County or Lincoln County. This just sets us up to be recipients of the Behavioral Health Trust Fund. This just identifies, we can only do a total of 5 priorities between Lincoln and Otero, and that's where the funding will have to go towards. And so this is just the process that we're gonna have to go through. What the priorities are for Otero County, what the priorities are for Lincoln County, like, we're not even at that point to discuss it. Like, that's all gonna come from the ESIM, that's gonna have to come from the community stakeholder engagements, and it's gonna have to cut in, and from those 2 things, we have to pull from those events what the priorities are. So that's the process that we would have to go through. I understand, like, we're having discussions about what the priorities are. I've already been told that we have to use those two events to pull what our priorities are. And I want to emphasize, we cannot dictate what the final plan is going to have.
Madam Chair, members of the commission, I think we're saying the exact same thing.
Okay.
I'm not- I feel like this is
misunderstanding.
pit against the county, and that's not why I'm here. We're a partner, and I just felt that it was disrespectful to the process if the court didn't come over here as a major partner in this and address you face to face. I felt like that was patently disrespectful. We're not saying different things at all. So, and the court is not seeking to grab a hold of this and take control. That's 100% not what's happening. So I feel like we're on the same page and saying the same thing, but you probably wouldn't know how important this is to the court if I didn't come over here and say this to you in person. So that's the reason that I'm here.
So if the courts were to continue to apply for this grant, there's no commission oversight needed. You guys just do it, right?
I think by virtue of Commissioner Rella, by virtue of forming, executive committee or whatever that looks like, we're equal partners. It's just somebody taking responsibility for some of this for pieces of the administrative role and for convening. I mean, that's a heavy lift to put together the list of people who have to be at the table, to convene those gatherings, what that looks like. That's a lot of administrative work. So whether it's the county, whether it's Lincoln County, whether it's the court, I don't see that person as having any larger of a voice. They're just accepting responsibility for a fiscal and administrative piece of this that has to happen. And that's a lot of work. That's a lot of administrative work.
No, I agree with that. And I can say, at least for Otero County, we're going to be leveraging the work that I did for the full sequential intercept map, because I still have the compilation, the aggregate data of all of the contacts and everything. And those, same people will also be invited to the table, and then hopefully more will be invited to the table. So we're gonna be capitalizing on the work I've already done. What the real work is gonna have to be done is in Lincoln County, and they're going to have to do some heavy lifting administratively to get a lot of their contacts, because I don't know anything. So, but yeah, and that's where, of course, the courts can come in and certainly help with gathering all of that information. But at least for Otero County, some of that work has already been done.
I just feel like this was like the moment to get us over the hill. We have discussed it, we have traveled and toured facilities, we've gone to I don't know how many summits about it, and my frustrations. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm tired. Let's get it going. And when we discussed this funding opportunity, I was like, great. Now we have put it on paper where we can actually get to a point where we can figure out how to break ground. And I don't know if Lincoln County puts all the work into it, are they going to even if we're on the executive, is it going to have the same outcome as what we have been discussing?
So, if I can intervene, this behavioral health plan is required to be approved by Lincoln County's commission and by Otero County's commission. And that's where you guys come in terms of deciding, does it have Otero County's interest? And then Lincoln County's commission comes in and they decide, does this have Lincoln County's interest considered? But as far as everything that is gonna be Otero County, that we cannot guarantee that it's going to have everything that Otero County needs. It's not gonna happen with only 5 priorities. But I can tell you, with the SIM that we have a pretty good SIM, a pretty comprehensive SIM to identify some of our priorities, at least as it was last year. So we still have that in play for us, whether we want to apply for grant funding and stuff like that, to move forward if something is not identified in this regional behavioral health plan, we can still use and lean on that SIM that we currently have. Because the one that we're gonna be doing is only gonna be focused on Intercept Zero. Ours at least covers the full spectrum of services throughout the criminal justice system. So we do at least have that. And Judge Snyder was integral in that work.
And I don't want to turn this into a Lincoln County versus Otero County, because obviously we've been including Lincoln County in the conversations. I think it's best that we remain the funding with the courts, because you cover both Lincoln and Otero, you know the needs. And this establishes an executive, we'll pull in Lincoln, we'll pull in health services and start having these meetings as directed by the grant as well.
And if I may, Madam Chair and Commissioner Rella, I am in no way here to advocate for whomever takes that administrative fiscal piece. I'm not. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I think I've made it clear why I felt it was so important to be here. Chief Judge Bryan agreed, so did Audrey. We're happy to do whatever, but we in whatever role and whatever, capacity is appropriate. We want to be an equal partner at the table, and that's how I perceive this unfolding, is that we are all equal partners at the table. There's not any one of us that's got superior interests. We should all just care about the communities in which we live, period. And I just want to interject, this is a blessing. I mean, at first when AOC got this money and this legislation, and the whole thing was kind of a head scratcher, but hopefully it turns into something really positive for our state. And of course, we're worried about our communities, but I think it's a really good thing. I think it can lead to some positive change, and we're happy to do whatever you all believe is appropriate. Audrey, in terms of the role, I mean, we will be at the table robustly. Audrey spoke with, and I don't have the name in my brain, I apologize, the program manager up in Lincoln County. I know you've been a part of that dialogue and feels good about it. She when Chief Judge Bryant and Audrey and I spoke on Friday, I said my plan is just to approach the commission, not asking them to do one thing or the other, just making sure they know we want to be an equal partner. So that's where I land. But whatever you all believe is appropriate, we will do whatever we need to do to move this forward. And I guess just as an aside, I think that ultimately the administrative office of the courts didn't really know how to divide it up into regions. To us, everything that we do, our brains work in judicial districts. So it just seemed the most logical way to do it. So I think that's why you all got stuck with our framework.
And that's why I also brought up my concern to Esperanza, which is you're getting counties involved in each other's business, and that normally does not happen very well. So I mean, we got you understand, like, we have the New Mexico Counties Association. Even among that, you I'm sure are aware, like, there are some contentious disagreements among counties, and so and I understand that the court wants to encourage neutrality and stuff like that. And also with Audrey, like, Pamela and I had very similar concern. We want to make sure that whoever is the accountable entity, that we are included in all the things, because there are some things that the AOC is going to be communicating with the accountable entity that we need to know about. For instance, the issues on Medicaid, like that's for me. Like, those are things that I need to know. Not that I do not work for Medicaid or work in Medicaid, but whatever happens with Medicaid, I need to know about and be aware of. And so those are things that are very job specific to me. So my discussions with Lincoln County is they agreed if they became the accountable entity, that they would include me at minimum, and of course Pamela, on any and all communications regarding this. And I don't think that Ross or Lincoln County would have any disagreement with doing that with the court system as well.
Yeah, I just, to the members of the commission, Madam Chair, we can't have silos of information. It just, period. It has to be a collaborative, equal effort. It has to be.
Why do we have to be partners with Lincoln County? Why can't Otero County do this?
Statutorily outlined, I agree with you, why, but it's statutorily outlined that it has to be the behavioral health regions, and we are with Lincoln County. And if we do not participate in this process, we forfeit our right to benefit from the Behavioral Health Trust Fund.
And Madam Chair, Commissioner Matherly, again, the statute required regions, and then AOC took and they, gave responsibility to figure all this mess out, basically. I mean, there was a lot to do to AOC, and AOC, again, I think they couldn't think of any other cohesive way to do it other than just by judicial district. But again, I think I was misunderstood a few minutes ago. I see down the road that separation because we're different. I mean, I care about the people up there. I just know, I live down here, my court is here. I know that the needs are, I talk to John Sugg every single day. I know the needs up there are way different than the needs down here. So at some point down the road, I see it just being common sense that we've got to have a separate focus. But we're a ways away from that. But
And I understand that point, but I have 10,000 people in Chaparral.
Yep.
To that point.
And that I want to make sure that this is covering them too.
Absolutely.
To that point, I've reached out to Donna Anna to request also being a part of their process because of our residents in Chaparral, and they have different needs than northern Otero County. So just so you know, I've reached out to Donna Anna to take that into consideration because, yeah, Otero County is very different than Lincoln County through and through, and also still very different from Donna Anna, but we still have communities that benefit from them.
So does the 12th district courts, do they serve, is Lincoln County in that district?
Yes, yes, the region, Commissioner Matherly, the region is 12th Judicial, so it's all of Lincoln, all of Otero, but that's a great point about
Yeah.
Chaparral. I mean, that, probably people up in Lincoln County don't even know Chaparral exists, or that
Yeah.
it's two counties. So, yeah, it's very complex, and it may be, and we're just throwing thoughts out there, but it may be that one of the priorities is we gotta separate, because there's just too much to wrap in one neat package. It just, and we may be, I think there are a couple of other judicial districts that'll have this issue, that it's just apples and oranges, and it's huge.
There are some districts with 4 counties.
So one other question, say we decide to go with, let the courts be there, would they still have an executive board to where everybody would communicate
Yeah.
with
They would
the
have-
same
we would
way?
have to.
I'm just looking at a, what do you call it? Non-partisan or a mutual.
And Madam Chair and Commissioner Matherly, I think, all you have right now is my recorded words, but I think that in my brain, it's equal partners. It's just one person being responsible for administrative, fiscal, and for convening. But I see exactly what Amber said about an executive board, and you all would have your appointed person, whomever the court would, Mescalero, Lincoln County, and then that team, then there's a larger group of people that are convened to have a larger conversation. We'd have to really put thought into what does this look like as we work through what the priorities are for all of these different entities. And, that's a complicated process. But that executive team would be the group that would equally decide all of that. And I don't see any issue with us not getting along, whomever's administratively in charge. I think, I don't have any concerns about that.
And we're still trying to bring Mescalero on, so if you guys have better contacts than what I have, we'll take them, but, we're still
Well, it
trying.
appears to me if we want an impartial arbiter, the courts are the ones to do it. I mean, because we have Otero County interest, Lincoln County has their interest. So to me, that just makes sense to me because you have interest in both.
Absolutely. Right.
Commissioners, but we're not just talking about a neutral arbiter between 2 counties and the tribe. I mean, we also, with all due respect, I don't think it's the best and wisest decision to, at this point in time, intrinsically link the topic that we're trying to cover and the judicial system, because we are covering, we're not trying to talk about how people flow in and out of the criminal justice system. We're trying to talk about intercept zero, and I want to avoid the community thinking that we're trying to link behavioral health and substance use disorders with crime. And we want to, the point is, we want to see what the behavioral health issue is. I don't want the stakeholder agreement, the stakeholder engagements to be geared towards, well, how do we, how do they get handled in the jail system, or, how do all of these other things that happen within their interactions within the criminal justice system, because we want to keep them out of the criminal justice system. And I don't want the perception to be, if you have a behavioral health issue or a substance use disorder, that you are going to interact with the judicial system. That's not entirely true. And I want to avoid that perception when we reach out to the stakeholders and stuff like that, especially even with Chaparral. We know what that population is somewhat comprised of, and I don't want the judicial system to, just the title of the judicial system being involved to be the barrier for people to get involved. Just like with people, interacting with law enforcement, like that, because of the uniform that they wear, people may not see favorably in interacting with law enforcement. There is the potential that there is the perception that people will not want to work with the judicial system because they interact with the judicial system on their worst days.
Well, Amber, I see, and maybe I'm not looking at this correct, this program to work to keep these people out of her court.
It's
Is
not
that
just
not what
that,
it's
but
about?
that's my point. It's not just that. It's about how are we dealing with mental health overall, because not everybody who has a behavioral health issue, who has a mental health issue, who has a substance use disorder interacts with the judicial system.
And I understand that point too. I just see this as a big way of trying to head off the train wreck before it gets there. If you can keep and work everybody to keep out of the court system would be a big plus.
And that's never been the topic of our conversation, of the courts first. It has been making sure that they don't go to the jail and they get the services that they need.
Well, but to go to jail, they would have to go to the courts. I'm trying to see a deal, I mean, it's a whole, everybody is tied in, but keeping them out of that path first. Now, sometimes it doesn't always work. That path ends up in one of the courts, but I don't know, maybe I'm not looking at this program the right way.
If I may, Madam Chair, Commissioner Matherly, our focus of almost everything we do in the judiciary, I chair the Supreme Court Mental Health and Competency Commission. The focus of that commission is Intercept Zero, that we are providing people in the state of New Mexico with the services they need to never, ever see me. That's the focus of that whole commission. I co-chair the Children's Court Improvement Commission, Supreme Court Commission. The whole focus of that commission is to keep kids out of the child welfare system. And in and that's essentially the same as Intercept Zero. That keeps adults out of our adult justice system, because so many factors that lead to families coming in the child welfare system are the same factors that bring adults into the criminal justice system. That's the whole focus, is way over here before they ever even see us. The whole focus of the Otero County Juvenile Justice Board is that we're building an infrastructure in Otero County at Intercept Zero, so that we give kids and families everything that they need so they never, ever come into the justice system. That should be the focus of every single thing we do. I have a duty in the courtroom to preside over my cases. We have a duty as a judiciary to provide resources for people who are in the system, because we should have points of intercept all along that map, where we're connecting with people's lives wherever they are to get them out of the system. But the main focus should be keeping them out at the front end. So that is absolutely a focus for the court. And this would not be, and again, I want to be so careful. I'm not advocating, I'm not here to debate. I just want you to know that this would not be the 12th Judicial District. It's the region, it would not be the court, excuse me. It's the region, and AOC has defined that region as the 12th JD. So we're stuck with that, whether we like it or not. But it would not be us. It would be Otero County, the 12th JD, Mescalero, and Lincoln. So however this comes down, it's gotta be that way, whether it's you all doing the administrative stuff or whichever entity. But please know, that's not just my sole focus conditions at Otero County Detention Center. Do I care about that? Well, of course I do, because I'm a human being. But I care about creating communities and infrastructures in communities where we have what families need to thrive way over here, so they never, ever see me. So,
Pamela had
Period.
something to say.
And commissioners, Angie just touched on where I was wanting to go. We're overcomplicating this. The only discussion today is who's going to take the lead role to be the fiscal
Yeah.
agent and organize meetings. They're not taking the lead and making the decisions.
Right.
Everybody's got an equal seat at the table. It's just, it doesn't matter. Is it Lincoln? Is it Otero? Is it the AOC? I think as long as this executive committee and all the stakeholders that are brought in to be part of it all have an equal say, it doesn't really matter. We'll just pick one. Who you think is the most suitable, whether it's the courts because they oversee all the jurisdictions, that's really all that we're looking at today is who's going to be the fiscal agent, basically, and say, hey, let's get together.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Excuse me. So whoever takes it on is basically going to be in the lead on setting all the meetings up,
And the fiscal agent.
so it is quite a bit of work.
I hate to put it on Audrey because I know that doesn't have a second to spare. I just think that is the center of everybody, and we'll bring the stakeholders.
In my eyes, it's just a very important program, and I want whoever's gonna do it. It doesn't matter to me, run with it the best they can. That's what it's all about, bottom line.
I don't know what I want. So, as long as I would like, I'm very, very interested in being on the executive committee of this. So, whether the meetings move to Lincoln County or down here, I would like to be the spokesperson on the commission when it moves forward. But if you're comfortable with Lincoln County doing it, I'm more comfortable with the courts doing it. But if I know it's just a funding thing, but I don't want to lose this opportunity for Otero County. That is my first and foremost.
And Madam Chair, Commissioner Barela, I didn't speak directly with the program manager up in Lincoln County. Audrey felt very good about it. I thought that he was going to be a part of this conversation also. So I just, I think, obviously, we feel very strongly that we've got an equal voice at the table. If Lincoln County has that same perspective, that's good for me, but I got Audrey's express permission to let you know she's willing to take on these responsibilities. But that I just haven't spoken to the program manager individually to get that same firsthand security but Audrey felt good about it. She felt, and we had a robust conversation on Friday, so.
His professional background is he is a planning writer, and he's also the grant writer for Lincoln County as well. So as far as writing goes, I appreciated his volunteering to write. So because it's going to require someone actually, as part of being the accountable entity, it's going to require that entity to actually put words to paper that behavioral health plan.
Well, obviously, you guys know I'm very passionate about this, so I'm gonna go with whatever you decide, because I am all about Otero. So if you guys feel comfortable, then I'll go with whatever you decide.
So basically Lincoln County's already said that they would take this on. They have somebody to ramrod it,
Yeah.
and
yes.
we're all gonna have an equal seat at the chair.
Yes, that was the concern that both Pamela and I made sure that if we had agreed to support Lincoln County, that yes, they would include us in everything. And we are required to have an equal voice in all of this, so, yes.
No, I have no problem with Lincoln doing that, as long as we're all equal. And you can be on the,
I want it.
because I know you've been up to your elbows in
I
this for a
want
while.
it.
So,
I mean, nothing else to do.
I know, right?
So my daughter always says, Mother, do you really need another job?
Yeah, right. All right, so do we need to vote on Lincoln?
Make a motion who you support, because there will be a resolution later where you support whatever entity. Just that you support them taking the role.
Okay. All right, I make a motion to have Lincoln County take the lead, or however we want to word
Lead
that,
role,
on
yeah.
SB3 Behavioral Health Regional Infrastructure Act planning funds.
A second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, Lincoln County it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hope you make it to your
Very much for
appointment in
moving
time.
the agenda so I could speak. I didn't mean to give a political speech in here. But thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we will move on to our next item. We're going to start with our interviews for the Otero County probate judge. And we'll just go in order. And I'm sorry that we're starting this late. We had to rearrange the schedule a little bit. Tanisha Womack.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, maybe if you want to just start off and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to do this.
Well, it was something that was presented to me, just as, hey, this is an open role. Is this something you'd be interested in? And looking at it, and I guess I'll explain my background as well. It is, especially when you consider my goals. So I am originally from Florida. My husband is former military, and that's how we ended up here in Alamogordo. Officially became a resident after 8 years in January of this year. Decided to make this our forever home. We thought it would be better to raise our kids here than going back to Orlando. It's quieter, more family involved. So my background is in law. I have a master's in law, and next fall, I start a Juris Doctor program at Faulkner University, a hybrid program. So I'll still be here, but I'll have to travel periodically for courses. So that's kind of where it piqued my interest. I don't have a formal background in probate. My background is primarily corporate law. But looking up, I was like, okay, this is just like learning corporate law. I know how to find the information and how to apply it.
Have any questions? She's still reading. Still thinking. I see the wheels turning.
Yep.
With the probate courts are Wednesday? Is that when they're scheduled?
What day are they now?
They can make up their own schedule.
Oh,
I think usually they're
So you would be
Tuesdays
able
and
to set up your
Thursdays.
schedule for your schooling to not interfere?
Correct. And honestly, I thought it would just be easier to leave it how it is. That way it remains consistent for the community, so I wouldn't have any interest in changing those days.
What community involvement have you been involved in for the last 8 years? I know I recognize you, I see you around, but I don't, what
Yeah.
are you involved in?
Honestly, mostly just with the church. Before moving to Alamogordo, we lived on Wismar, so we were primarily in Las Cruces. So our home church at that time was Las Cruces first. We got involved with things that they did in the community. I never really knew where to get started with trying to get out more outside of the church, really, within the community. So we moved here last year, I believe. I believe it was May of last year before we finally decided, okay, this is it. So really just things with our church. The most recent thing was getting out and just telling people about Jesus. I would love to get more involved in the community. If I'm being honest, I don't know where to get started.
You just got signed up.
Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Be
you
careful
have my
what you
info,
say.
so let me know.
I'll give you a list today.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, because even listening to, I don't know her name, in the Orange speaking about the mental health, I was like, that is so interesting.
Oh, Judge Schneider.
Judge
Yes.
Snyder, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I know, because I was thinking, I would like to reach out to her. How can I get involved with her? So,
They have a meeting at noon today
okay.
that I'm probably going to miss.
Okay, anything else? No. Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
all.
you.
Jessica?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
So just tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to do this.
Well, I moved here in 2004 from military, of course, and decided to stay. Here we are 21 years later, and in that time frame, I have done many things and wore many hats. Once I used to volunteer for Habitat Humanity when I first got here, because that was just like, you gotta know who to get in, and it was someone in the military. It was fun, I enjoyed it. I enjoy serving the community and helping people out. So back in 2014, after being employed with the Otero County Sheriff's Office, Benny House sent me and Glenn Ray to DARE School. And that's when we went around and, proposition businesses for donations for the DARE program and help. So what we did is funded the entire shirt program. I'm sure Sheriff Black and Under Sheriff Robles knows the work that goes into that. And I would do that on my time off and still work my full shift at night. So I teach DARE in the mornings, go sleep for 2 hours, and then go work my 12-hour shift. From there, I would also volunteer for the Republican Party, doing anything that we did for the community out and about. I was a real estate agent for 3 years. I feel like that will help me understand land laws and the rights that come with that. Working in law enforcement and now at the Public Defender's Office for 3 years, I have a very stern knowledge about how court proceedings and procedures do work and how we need to get and gather information and remain fair and stand for what the truth is that comes out of that. So that is my background and why I feel like I am qualified or your next candidate.
Thank you. Questions?
She answered them.
No, that's it, thank you.
Good job.
Okay, thank you.
Deanna Montoya?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I am Deanna Montoya. My background is that I did work for the County Clerk's Office for 7 years, from 2013 to 2020. I have worked with both Latanya Boyce, Judge Boyce, and Judge Christine Tensky. I've processed the paperwork before. I'm familiar with the office's policies and procedures. One thing I have picked up, or I'm not sure that you all are familiar with, it's mostly a signature office. The office of the probate judge does not make judgments. We process paperwork. They process paperwork. If there is an estate that's contested, it goes to the district court. So that is one, I have a little bit more knowledge and experience in the office. Prior to, or after I left the county, I worked for the Village of Tularosa, and I ran excuse me, I am so nervous. I
Don't
get
be
so
nervous.
talking
Don't
in
be
front of
Don't be
you.
nervous.
I worked for the senior center. I was the program coordinator, but I was basically the
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
I knew I
I've
recognized you.
presented in front of you guys before. I know the hardships that come with death and with, I've worked with older people with the senior center. I worked at the hospital with, at Life Transitions when they first started, and they were only serving people 55 and older. I have great compassion for people that are going through these types of situations. And, you never know what you're gonna deal with the office. Some people come in and they're still very, very mourning and hurting. And some people come in and it's just a matter of filing paperwork, and they're not really, and it can be done up to 3 years after the death of a person. So I'm very familiar with the office. I have served on the Village of Tularosa's Board of Trustees, and I also served on their short-lived Planning and Zoning Committee. But that didn't last very long. Do you have any? And I maintain a good relationship with the clerk's office, with Selena and Monique and Chris, and because I worked with them. And also, I also maintain friendships with Latanya, and we just always called her Nana. Lynn. She was the Nana of the office, so we called her Nana. So I have a support system if I was to come up with any blockages, if I needed advice. I feel like I know people that I can reach out to. I think one of the reasons that I make a good candidate is that because I am coming in with the experience and knowledge of the office. So I'm not sure when the next county or state meetings, training comes in. So I kind of already have my footing in the policies and procedures of the office. And I feel like I'm rambling, I'm sorry.
You're not rambling, you're doing great. So have you gone through some of that training already in your present position?
I'm currently not employed.
Okay.
I take care of my mom. I've been taking care of her for the past 5 years. I've been at home with her for the past 3 years. But we've gotten to a point where she's doing a lot better, and I don't have to be home with her all the time.
That's good.
Yes. And plus, that's just not healthy. So, but I have, like I said, I have processed probates in the clerk's office before, for both Latanya and Christine Tensky, when they served as judge.
I haven't heard Chris's name in a long
I
time.
know.
I've forgotten to you said her
Yes,
name.
she was the first, the first one I worked with.
Mhm.
Any questions? No? Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And Commissioners, we are asking you to select someone and vote today.
Well, I think in this position, community is the most important thing to me because our community members are going to our probate judge at a time of grief. Most don't know what to do and, rely on the guidance. And that is why community is important to me. So that's why when I asked the question, what do you do? How-
Community involvement.
Yep. What is important to you guys?
Well, and if we wanted to keep this open and interview more people, would that be possible?
You can. The courts have agreed to help us, and Latanya's trying to help if something comes up. But of course, the sooner we fill it, the better, so that we are not a burden on the courts. But it's totally up to you. This is all we got, and we advertised it for 4 weeks, I believe? This is all we got in 4 weeks. But you can direct us to go out for another 30 days if you want. It's totally up to you.
I'm ready to pick.
You what?
I'm ready to pick.
How about you? You,
Yeah.
All three are great.
oh no, that's,
This is not easy, so by any means. I mean, each of you have backgrounds, I think, that would be an asset to the position.
Do you know how much legal, like, knowledge it really requires?
None.
I don't know if I said that correctly, but I mean, is
Required
it?
of a candidate, they don't have to have any legal background. They have to have the ability to understand and interpret and know where to get advice when needed.
I think all of our past probates didn't have a legal background. We had
I know Yvonne
Boyle,
Oliver was for a while.
right? She didn't have legal background. Chris, I forgot about Chris. I
She was a
completely forgot
clerk
about-
prior and
Yep, you know, and LaTanya, I didn't know her
real, she
before
works
she was
in real
probate.
Right.
estate or closings, titles, escrow, yeah.
Yep.
I mentioned
Can we, I would like to be able to have the three of us discuss this in,
It doesn't qualify for executive session. It's not one of the 5
Gonna
few.
say it all out in the open.
If you would like, if you want to give it some thought, we can table this until the next regularly scheduled meeting and put it on there for a vote. It's,
no?
no.
I'm ready.
It's tough because they all have different good qualities.
So when I think about community and what each has done in our communities, because they all have their own gifts, what they've done for us in the community. I know that we have one that has the experience of working with the probates already, and then we have one with legal background, and then we have one with law enforcement background. Obviously, the legal background is an asset because of all legalities with death. It'd be easy to walk in with experience, but the courts do provide the training, and they'll call up whoever it is and say, probably mirror a probate judge or something like that to start getting that experience. I personally think the law enforcement experience is the best because of understanding the backgrounds of everybody and what their needs are to serve them correctly. So I would like to make a motion to nominate Jessica.
I would second that. What are you thinking?
I personally, I mean, Mrs. Womack, she only lived here a year. When I go and sit through interviews, I watch how people talk, I watch how they present themselves. That's a big part of this judge situation, because they have to be able to talk to the people. I mean, and Jessica does understand this is, all three of them have a good understanding of it, so it's a very hard choice, so. You can take the vote, whatever.
We got a second?
Yeah. Jessica Ford, I seconded. So, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I suppose.
Okay, 1 nay. So Jessica, you're it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for coming in.
Okay, so number 2, request approval of professional services agreement for the Tularosa Basin Regional Dispatch Authority legal services with Serape Andrews at rates between $225 an hour and $275 an hour, and paralegals at the rate of $125 an hour. And RB's not here to talk to us about this, so
Okay. John's man.
that's right.
Did you tell your dispatcher I'm not old?
I haven't seen him yet,
Uh-oh,
but I will.
uh-oh, I don't even want to ask what that's about.
So, from what I read in it, this is already an attorney that we've been working with y'all in the past, right?
Yeah, we worked with Cody Rogers in the past when we first merged to try to work out structure for the organization. And we were gonna do consulting firms, and we chose her to kind of help out if we're a sub-entity or a separate entity. So we've used it in the past, but that contract is gone. And we're just looking to renew it with her, get another contract in place with what's gone on with the city and how RB has been placed in a predicament, that we'd rather have an external attorney just in case we need to take any actions that RB can't help with.
So we've had them on contract for a year.
Yeah, we had them in 2023 when we first started.
How much have we spent this last year on them?
Nothing, the PO is closed, so we have to redo it now. So it was like, do you remember, it was like less than $5,000 that we ended up using her with. Yeah, it wasn't
Okay.
much, yeah.
As long as we stay under that threshold, we have to get a bid?
No, if it stays under 60,000, it's up, professional service up to 60,000.
Oh, I support renewing this.
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, I make a motion for the approval of professionals, excuse me, services agreement for the Tularosa Basin Regional Dispatch Authority legal services. Is that Serape? Am I saying that right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
I just know it was Cody Rogers.
Yeah. Andrews at rates between $225 and $275 an hour, and paralegals at rates of $125 an hour.
Okay, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, look, this cough is killing me. Okay, number 3, request approval for funding and purchase of code enforcement and permitting software from Civic Plus in the amount of $43,662.50 with an annual recurring fee of $28,762.50. Sorry, I'm dying. I've been on these all morning.
Yeah, I should have bought my oil for you.
I'm kidding.
Morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My questioning on this whole deal is on the permitting process. I'm trying to remember exactly, how does the road department do that on the, that would be, the only permitting would be through the road department on the culverts and stuff, right? Or is that just an approval or a recommendation? What is that?
So basically, it's a recommendation right now. There is no paper trail for driveways and or culverts. The only time I know a driveway's going in is if a resident calls and says, hey, we're putting this in, do I need to put a culvert in? And a lot of times I need to run out and look. We've got, when we have subdivisions going in, we know there's gonna be driveways down there, and we have to approve the plans anyways.
Well, a few years back, I remember, I went to go get, it was before your time, Steve was still there. Went through the process of, to get what the county requires for a culvert and stuff. We had put in, just down the street from where I was working at, they put a culvert in, and I guess they didn't ask for permission first. They put it in on Friday, they were tearing it out on Monday.
So there is sometimes, and we've had one, and I won't give the address, but I had a gentleman put a 12-inch culvert in an arroyo that was fed by 3 36-inch culverts, and I made him pull those out.
So that's what I'm just so is this gonna be a new process the county's gonna do to require a permitting? Or is this, shouldn't even be here to play a factor in it?
I believe we should require it, because we have driveways going in and up by where Commissioner Marquardt lives, and they're just dumping material on the roads every time it rains, because we have no say on where they put one.
Commissioners, can I ask a question? Do we currently have a policy and formal process in place for permitting for driveways and culverts?
Not that I've seen.
Okay, so that would still have to be developed as well.
Mhm.
Okay.
So that's my point to this, we really don't have, it's a courtesy thing to come in and ask. They can, from what Steve explained to me is, if you put an inadequate one, they can come and
Yes,
require you
and we
to
have done
remove.
that. We have done an inadequate on a few of them. We had a gentleman put in, what was there, 26-inch irrigation pipes stacked on top of each other. He buried those and was trying to call that a culvert.
Well, yeah, I've seen all kinds of stuff.
Well, yeah.
So 31 years ago, when I bought my property, my driveway was over the dike.
Correct.
So I didn't call any, I just drove it. So what would somebody like that buys property and just decides where their entrance is gonna be and just drives it?
Well, and that's, I think, what we're trying to get away from is, letting this happen. Because again, we're ending up with driveways where there shouldn't be driveways. We've got driveways dumping out onto roads that, even my own, because the same time frame, I went in to get a driveway permit / culvert permit when I put my driveway in. Nope, nothing required. And that was before Steve, but, nothing required. Okay. And it ended up backing up enough water that I ended up having to do some ditch work alongside of it, but, nothing's required.
And you know, out on High Sierra, where it's flooding when we get those big rains out on North Florida,
That's a different story.
people go in there, and I know they've put driveways where alleys are supposed to be and covering up culverts.
Well, the arroyos are where the road's supposed to be also.
True.
Different, that's a completely different scenario.
So how would you implement this in to what's in now? You can't go back and make everybody.
Well, no, you're gonna have to grandfather it. I mean, you can't force someone like myself that's been, or Commissioner Barella that's been there for 30 years. You're not gonna tell them go put culverts in now, but from point B onward,
So are you going to have to go through the state to get a cooperative deal, the same as you would a flood in the county? Sign off on your flood elevation deal, make sure you're not in a flood zone when you apply for a building permit?
On the driveways, I don't know.
I mean, it's gotta be
On the flood
implemented
permitting-
somewhere.
On the flood permitting, yes.
so it's already there.
No, it's not.
Well, they can't build without him signing off.
Yeah, but that's just for a flood elevation, but it's not there to have a culvert or anything like that. And that's what I'm saying, it's gotta have to be implemented in somehow and approved by the state to do that.
I don't know if it's required by the state. That may be a section that is covered under planning and zoning, which we don't have. And that's on the application for construction is planning and zoning. And we just send in a letter, it says Otero County does not have planning and zoning, so that fills that block. We may have to not look at it as planning and zoning and look at it as driveways then. I don't know though.
Well, I fully agree, you need something, because I watch these living in the country, I watch these ditches overflow, fill up. I mean, they may put in an original big 4-foot culvert, but in 4 years, it's this much left of it that's flowing water. But what I'm saying is, this is a $2,800 deal that we have to pay for every year, if we're not gonna be able to incorporate it into county requirements or approved by the state, then why are we gonna pay $2,800 a year on something we can't enforce or do?
Well, and I talked to RB about this, and if I'm reading my own handwriting right, because I was in my car when I was talking to him, but he told me that this would save on man hours, it helps with permitting, floodplain maps for Matt, driveways, lodger's tax, and subdivision permits. He said this could all help with that, and we're already using it for public records. So it would work together, that software would work together.
My only concern is if we're going to develop a driveway policy, permit policy, is it gonna require hiring somebody to go and look at all these driveways? How many driveways are we gonna have? How many developments do we have going on? And then we have the enforcement side of it. They did it without permitting it, then what's that look like? So what is the necessity of having a permit for driveways, other than, all I can think of is Dollar General. Dollar General's in my mind.
Okay, well, so let's use your neighborhood, for example. You drive down Riata Saturday after those rains. I've got ponds between driveways because there's no culverts in there, which is forcing it to run over the road instead of going down to the next culvert that goes under the road. And on the east side of that road, I wanna say there's probably a third of them with no driveway culverts. And you've seen it. There's a pond, and then it's, I won't say dry, but it drains into a culvert, and then you got another one that's a pond, cause there's 2 driveways with no culverts between them. I get residents calling all the time, hey, my driveway's flooding out because my neighbor's culvert's plugged up. You get out there was never a culvert put in. And again, now we can't do anything to stop that, but, 15 years ago, if we'd had something that said, okay, you're putting a driveway in this area, you have to have a culvert.
So what other permitting purpose would this?
The other permitting purpose is our floodplains are permitted, so we'd move them off of the way we're tracking them now into this tracker and be able to have them in one central spot, dump in from the website a lot easier than it currently is. Our fireworks permits for 4th of July and all the other holidays that they can sell fireworks and use them.
So it's a multi-use,
Yeah, it's multi-use permitting.
okay.
So, I make a motion that we approve the funding on purchase of code enforcement and permitting software from Civic Plus in the amount of $43,662.50 with an annual recurring fee of $28,762.50.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, fellas.
Matt,
Real quick, commissioners.
Oh,
Matt.
date.
Yeah.
Move the meeting.
hang out just a second, please.
So the regular meeting is now October 15th.
Yes.
And then the OHV public hearing, the 23rd does not work for Commissioner Matherly. What about October
I don't have
30th?
my calendar. I don't know if I know how to use my calendar on my phone. Do you know how to use your calendar on your phone?
Oh, you mean on your watch? I know.
I mean,
hate
on my
that.
watch?
It's too little.
Let me see.
So we're talking about moving it to when? October what?
30th.
30th, on a Thursday.
And that's for the public meeting?
On the UTVs and OHVs.
I can do that.
I don't know if I can.
I believe I can too.
And what time are we thinking?
We'll do that one at 6.
6?
I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And you said 6 o'clock in the evening? Okay.
Oh,
The 30th at 6.
here, right?
Here. Okay, that's all I needed. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody have anything else?
No?
All right. We are adjourned.